What's up, guys? Welcome to another Rune showcase. So, Rune removal was a week ago. So I'm going to show you just the runes on my main units. For the uh, like most of the original stuff, things that haven't changed much, I'll just going to be very brief on those. But for the newer units that I've runed up, I'll try to talk about them a bit more. So Megan, I mostly just use in PvP in my triple illusion team, or double illusion against Leo teams. So she's there on Swift Will, and those are her stats. So try to make her as fast as possible, and obviously make her faster than your illusions. Alright, this is my Konomiya. Konomiya I don't really use a lot, but I occasionally use him in PvP. Or in Guild Wars, so I kept him runed up, and he's just good as like a cleanser. He's got pretty good utility. He stuns. He buffs stuff. Gives your units extra turns. Yeah, and overall just pretty good all round unit. And I put him on violent, with mostly like spare runes. Like he's on defense, which is not ideal. I think he should be on HP, but I didn't have a spare HP rune to give him. Alright, so this is one of my newer units, Xiaolin. She's been pretty hyped, and for good reason. She's a pretty amazing damage dealer. Like all the comfort goals recently got buffed, and I feel she actually got nerfed a little bit because the original buff they felt was too strong, so they actually nerfed the damage of the third ability, which is what her burst comes from. And I built her on Vampire Revenge. She's in the back line of my R5 team, and she does amazing damage. She basically replaced my Stella. Stella was originally there in the back line, so I don't have Brand anymore, like as a debuff, but I do a lot more damage with Xiaolin. And she's also a lot safer because she's on Vampire. She's like self-sustaining. With her like huge burst damage and her revenge procs, it's very easy for her to keep herself alive, which is quite good. So yeah, if you have one and you can scale her up, I would recommend her for speeding up your R5 team. She's not very good for progression teams, but she's pretty good once you're trying to just improve your contribution. Okay, this is my Ariel. Ariel has been... I've been switching his runes around a lot. At the moment, I just built him just to use in Guild Wars offense occasionally when I specifically need a water healer. But other than that, I don't really use him a lot. He can potentially be used in arena defense, but I don't really have the units to really make that work. I would need. I think he's mostly good with Camilla, and I don't have a Camilla yet, so I can use it with Renas. But I think Renas these days they're like a lot of people take them down pretty easily. So I don't really use Renas on my AD anymore. This is my Orion. So Orion has lost some speed since last month. If anyone's actually paid attention to the speeds, he used to be about 255 speed or something like that, or 260. But I moved his runes to another unit, which I'll get to later. But I gave him like an alternative set, which still has decent speed. I think there's still some slots that need to be grinded, which I haven't found the grindstones for it yet. But I still use him at the moment on Guild Wars defense, but I think next month, or if I buy a rune removal pack maybe in 2 or 3 weeks time, I might switch him to violent for Guild Wars defense. But yeah, he's on like a sparish Swift set at the moment. Alright, so that's him at the moment. Okay, this is my main Rena, and it's pretty much the only Rena I actually use, but I do have the second one there. So that's her stats. Just aim for as much HP and defense as you can with max res, and I use her on a will set, just so I can bring her against Galleon, Zyros sort of teams or Sierra teams. I mean, I don't always use it against Sierra, but it's sort of like the easy way to tank Sierra, with easy to access monsters. So that's her. Alright, the second one is just like a worse version of the previous that arena. I built him just because of World Boss, and just in case I wanted to use her on AD, but I haven't used her in AD for a long time. So yeah, that she's just gotten like runes that I'm not using on anyone else. But yeah, mostly she's just there for the World Boss. Okay, this is my Sigmarus. Sigmarus got gimped on his stats a bit because I moved some of the runes around to other damage dealers. So yeah, he got like another like sparish set. Like this rune is not particularly great. But I use him in DB10 for my safe team. So that team, it's like slower. It's like a minute 40 to 2 minutes, but it's very safe, and it's sort of when I get sick of my speed team getting like dying, basically wiping. Right, so this is my fast Galleon, and I changed him to be like tanky. So he used to be on max crit rate, more YOLO like damage dealer type. But I'm trying out as like a tanky version, because then I can use him in HOH and he won't die so easily. The other thing is, I actually kind of wanted to take him off crit rate, so that when I use him in offense, right? Because I use this fast Galleon on AO. I want him to be able to defense break Camillas, because the previous version with max crit rate, he could never defense break a Camilla, but this one he can, even though I mean there's still a good chance he'll crit. Because 24% they still crit a lot, but at least he has a chance to do it now. So that's how I'm trying him out for this time. It does gimp him a bit in that he doesn't do as much damage, so but it was nice with the old one. I could actually deal like 12,000 damage to something and kill it. But this one he doesn't really do much. So he's just there as like a support. Alright, this is my Filmars. Filmars, I changed him a little bit. He lost a bit of speed, and I did that because I changed my Jasun's speed, and her speed dropped, and therefore I had to make Filmars drop in speed as well. So I think he gained a bit of HP from doing that, and maybe like a little bit of attack, but otherwise most of his stats are fairly similar. Actually, he gained a lot of resistance as well from the runes I put him on. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not. I feel that resistance actually, it's quite annoying on for people attacking me on when I put him on Guild Wars defense, because if you get a random resist, it can just screw over their offense, right? So I actually don't mind the high resistance on it. So yeah, I'll leave him as it is for now. Alright, this is my Purian. I haven't changed Purian at all actually, so I'll just show the runes real quick. I have been using it a little bit more often these days with Raki to kill Pernas. I've been sort of YOLOing it, and I've been pretty lucky because each time I haven't really encountered one that had wall runes. Right, that's the only thing that I'm scared of, is my Raki not being able to kill the Perna through the wall rune. But so far, it's been successful. I haven't really encountered that many wall runes. Okay, this is my Stella. So you may have noticed her speed is very low now. She used to be like 225 on. She used to be on Swift, but I changed her to Violent because I put Shaolin in my raid team. I didn't really need Stella to be built for it specifically anymore. So I'm trying her out on a Violent build for speed DB10. The team's pretty fast, but it's not that reliable yet, so I don't like it that much. But I do have a speed team now. It's like a minute speed team, but it's probably like 98 98% success rate. And yeah, I'm the sort of guy that hates, failed runs, even if the run's really fast. So I'm just trying her out like that for now. Virad's runes haven't changed yet. I've been meaning to try to change him, but I just haven't found the runes that I'm happy with to put him on like a Violent Will set. I do really want to build him though, so I don't know. I'll see. I've been sitting in dragons, just haven't been able to find much much violent runes to give him. Okay, Praha, I think she's pretty similar to before. I think she lost a bit of accuracy and gained a bit of like 1 speed and a little bit of HP. I want to try to make her faster than that, but Giants hasn't been very kind to me, so she's still like that. But I think she's fast enough with my speed lead on AD, so it doesn't. I don't. It's only for if I want to switch to a tankier defense where I'm not using Samarth lead. Alright, so yeah, that's Praha, and this is my second Galleon. So this one I made him YOLO, and I built him for Dragons B10. So like the speed team, I basically built him around his speed, right? So my Galleon moves first, and then the rest of the team moves. So he's on the YOLO build for more damage, of course. The more damage I can put in, then the more likely I can kill the Dragon B10 boss before he gets an immunity. But it's not that reliable yet. I think I just have to improve the runes on my Tarks and stuff like that. Tor hasn't changed at all, so I'll just show that real quick. Tor, I use him in my safe Dragons B10 team. I use him in Guild Wars and also on Arena Offense. Alright, he's like one of my main nukers. He's pretty amazing. This is my Beth. So Beth is a new unit, and I sort of like theory crafted that she doesn't really need to be that YOLO DPS to work, right? Because with the Eternal Scar ability, if you're gonna go YOLO, right, you'll probably kill them anyway with Eternal Scar, which is good. But then you're not really utilizing the destroy anyway. So I figured I might make her like a bruiser type with like a really tanky build, as you can see here. Very little attack, but she actually does quite a lot of damage, even though she's got basically no attack substats. I've seen her do about 30,000 to a Field Mass that with defense break and attack buff, which I think is pretty nice considering her stats. I've been trying to make her work. I tried to make her work on AD. I was thinking she could win like a prolonged battle, but I don't know. I feel she dies too easily. I mean, I try to bring her on offense. The opposing win DPS doesn't have attack power or buff or defense break, and my best still died to it. I mean, a lot of it was violent procs, but yeah, I wasn't that impressed. So at the moment, I've been using her against Perna teams where Perna is the only DPS. Okay, this is my Bastet. So I use Bastet only in R5. So that's why she's on Vampire Revenge. And the reason she's on Vampire is because I built her as like a semi-damage dealer, so that she does more than just debuffs, right? Because I didn't put any skill ups into her, so her harmful effect rate is not very good. So I figured I may as well at least give her a bit of damage. So that's why she's got an attack rune on a slot 6, and she's got max crit with Hwa's leader skill. But I only use her if no one in our group has defense lead, because she sort of gimps my team. That's why I don't really like her that much. But I have her built for that, and she's pretty nice. Actually, I don't know if she's in my World Boss team. I don't think she is at the moment. I think if I put skill ups into her, she would be, but I don't feel she's worth the investment, so I'm just leaving her as is. Alright, this is my Samarth. I don't believe he's changed since last time. He's just still on Despair Will. He's a speed attacker because I use him on Arena Offense, and he's also on my AD. So I made him fast enough so that he moves first. That way I can sort of YOLO the skill reset on Pernas and Filmars, which is quite nice. And then I follow up with either Tasha or Alicia, depending on what elements are on the opposing team. Alright, this is my Alicia. So I made her also a speed attacker. So she's she's tuned to move after Samath, and she's on like shield, blade, broken, and that's just to give her the stats that she needed. There's no real reason to go like you can really go any build you want on these type of like AoE nukers. You can do a mix of sets, or you can do like a proper set if you haven't. But I don't, so or don't have enough to go around. So she's on like a mix. Seek is not changed, I don't think. So I'll just go through real quick. And of course, he's only really used in the arena offense with my Seek. Sorry, double illusion team. So he's there as like the crit rate, attack power buffer, and he also helps kill off fire and sometimes wind units, but mostly for the fire units, which Lucians have trouble with. Alright, this is my rock, my first rock, which is the main one I have, which I occasionally will use in Guild Wars offense if I find a suitable target for him. But he's mostly built for Necro B10. And he's gotten a little bit tankier, I think, and more crit damage. So yeah, that's how I built him. Okay, Beretta. I think some of the runes got shifted around, so I'll go through them real quick. And I just use him for TOA. Okay. Like these runes are pretty good quality, but I don't have a lot of despair units for PvP at the moment, so he's sort of fortunate in that he can just take the best runes, but he doesn't need to be like this tanky and that fast, but it just turned out that way. Alright, this is my Spectra. So I built Spectra for DB10. I want him to have max crit rate, as much crit damage as possible, and a decent amount of accuracy to help him land the slow on the towers, or mainly the right tower. And I built him on Violet because I think for DB10, Violet Spectra is the best. The reason is because it helps him cool down, like his backlash ability, which is the third ability. And if his AI is not very good, so it just increases the chance that he might proc an extra turn, and therefore use his backlash on that turn, right? But even then, like just getting the extra procs is nice because he does pretty good damage. So if the second skill is on a very short cooldown, so any extra turns that he gets, helps him do that a lot more often, and that's what bursts down the boss very quickly. Alright, Verd. I changed Verd's speed and I made him like deal more damage. Right, so I increased his attack percent by giving him slot 2 attack instead of speed. Instead of speed. And the reason I did that is so that he moves after everyone else in my Dragon's B10 speed team. Alright, and the reason for that is like there's no reason for him to go first, right? Because it's better that he goes last so that everyone's already moved, and therefore he can buff up their attack bar afterwards because they're fairly low. Like if he goes first, everyone's already almost max attack bar, so he doesn't really benefit. Like he's not really benefiting the team by doing that. So yeah, I built him like that way so that he moves after all my all my DPS units. Okay, so he's like a very YOLO build. He's attack crit rate attack. Okay, Arnold, his runes change a bit. You just want him to be as tanky as possible, but I don't really use him a lot, except for like those YOLO Zyros teams or stuff like that, where I want to bring triple will, or like triple win DPS teams where I just bring like triple fire. Okay, and he's on will so that just for the to anti the galleons, right? Or so he protects you from time to loot. Alright, this is my Hua, so not Hua, my Chloe. So with Chloe, I used to have two. Actually, I do have two, but I de-ruined the other one, so only one is ruined at the moment. The other one used to be on Double Nemesis Will, but I had to give some of those runes to other people, so and I don't really use her on AD now, because I got like a new unit which I prefer on AD, so which I'll get to soon. But she's on Shield Will Destroy, and this is to me a good PvP, also Guild Wars offense build, right? So the shield, like Will is, you're always gonna put Will on Chloe, I feel, right? If you have the Will set, and then I give her a shield so that she can be a shield user. I don't necessarily need her to be on Swift for Guild Wars offense, so I can make her like the shield holder, and Destroy is just like an extra utility for those stored out fights, so she can slowly whittle down their max HP and make it easier to kill for those prolonged fights. Alright, this is my Hua. She hasn't really changed for a while, so I'll just show these real quick. And this is my R5 Hua. I don't really use her for anything else. So I do use her for TOA hard. Alright. Only because she's fast, but ideally she would be on violent for TOA, but she still does the job on Swift. I didn't really have any problems clearing the last boss. Alright, this is my Colleen. So Colleen, I think has changed a bit. So she's still on Violent Revenge for R5, and that's where I mainly use her. And the main change is her slot 2 used to be speed, but I changed it to a defense rune which has good speed substats. And that's just to make her a lot more tankier, because I feel that before, with only 2 defense runes, she had defense HP rune, she was still dying too much, so I made her more tankier and just try to make up the speed substats, make up her speed from substats. And I still got her to about 196, which I think is still pretty good. I think anything above 190 is pretty good for raids. You don't have to make her above 200, but it's nice if you can. Right, Shiwa, she hasn't changed. I actually didn't really touch my Necro units that much, but yeah, she's just there for Necro. And she moves before my Raux to break the shield, but she's not as fast as my Huahi. And it's important to make her a little bit tanky as well, just because there's a lot of damage, surprisingly, from Necro. And if you lose a unit in there, it makes it really hard to kill the boss, right? You want all 5 units there to maximize your chances for multi-hits. So that's why you want to give her a bit of HP, bit of defense is nice too. Alright, this is my slow Hua, which I have recently built up thanks to the run HOH, because I didn't have scallops for her before. But I built her up for Necro B10. So she's replacing my Pang, which I used to use. I feel it probably made it a little bit faster, but it didn't really make as big of a difference as I thought it would. But it's still pretty good. I think overall it's probably a bit faster. And yeah, she's just on like a YOLO DPS build. And she moves last on my team. Alright, Kuma, I changed Kuma a little bit. I think he gained a bit of HP and a little bit of speed, but he's still on Violent Destroy, and I still like this build quite a lot. It's not as good for arena defense. I would probably prefer him on Will for that, but in Guild Wars offense, I think Destroy is really nice for any team that is going to be going for the long game, and Kuma is usually in that sort of team, so he helps a lot for those sort of fights. But I may change him back to Will at some stage, I'm not sure. Alright, Raki. So I've been using Raki a little bit. And yeah, she's just on a bunch of broken sets, plus a shield set, and that's just to get her to like the substats that I needed her to be on. Basically, I just needed her to have good enough speed that she moves after Pyrian, and like 70% crit rate, right? And as much damage as I could give her. That way, hopefully, even with will runes, she should be able to kill a Perna. But I haven't. Well, it depends how tanky Perna is. I guess how high level they are. Alright, Huahi hasn't changed at all. So I'll just show them real quick. And she's just in. I use her for Necro 10 as my healer. I may. Like, eventually, I want to build a Miang, which is the water version. And these runes might go to her. I'm not too sure yet. And if I do that, I might switch Colleen to be my healer in Necro 10. But I think Huahi is pretty good for Necro 10. She does a lot of damage, and she's got a very strong heal as well. Alright, Tessarion, I've changed him a bit because just to speed tune him to Fiormaz, and he's still on Will Shield, but I gave him Destroy instead of Revenge, because there was this situation where it was like Tessarion and Chasun versus Praha and another unit, and I couldn't kill them, right? Because Tessarion doesn't do enough damage without being all violent. So I'm trying to destroy him on him in cases where I lose my Fuel Mars and I have to rely on Tessarion to kill the remaining unit. So yeah, or the remaining units. So yeah, that's why he's built on Destroy instead of Revenge. But Revenge is pretty good utility as well. So they're just for different situations, really. Alright, the second Ralk, I don't think he's changed much, except maybe I think I might have grinded a couple of his runes, but yeah, otherwise he's mostly the same as before. I want to make him a little bit tankier so he doesn't die as often. He doesn't die all that often, but it will be good if I can like grind these violent runes, even with just like blue quality runes, and that will make him sort of more in line with the other Ralk, because this one is a little bit weaker than the other one. Alright, Lisa, so this is my R5 cleanser, and I did change her, but I don't know if I changed her last time when I did this. But basically I put HP onto her slot too. She used to have speed on this slot, and therefore she was a lot faster. I think she was like 240 speed, but I figured she doesn't really need to be that fast. Like, it's nice, I mean, in terms of like, you know, EP, it's pretty nice, but I think it was better to make her tankier, because there was she occasionally did die when I put speed slot 2 on her, so I changed her to make her a bit tankier instead of fast, and it's been a lot more reliable. She's no longer like the first one to die. If anyone, the first one to die is actually my DS, and you'll see why when I show the runes. Alright, this is my Raccoony, so I think some of the runes got shifted around for him as well, so I had to rebuild him a bit, and yeah, he's still on Violent Nemesis. I use him mostly on Guild Wars offense with Akoma and Kumar, and he's there against teams where there's like Orion or anything that has a heal block, because if there's a heal blocker, you know, Kumar can't heal himself up. So I need to bring something that's fire that can cleanse, and I built Raccoony for that like long time ago for that purpose, and it's been pretty good. I quite like him. He's good utility. Alright, Bulldozer hasn't changed since before. On these stats he does about between 36 to 37,000. Alright, and he's on Will because he moves second. When I use the Bulldozer Copper team, and Shield is just mostly for the substats. Guard is good because it adds extra damage. If I could, I would give him another guard set for more damage, but until I can find quality guard runes for him, I'll just leave him as he is. He does enough damage against most targets that I use like the comp against. Okay, this is one of my new units, Sekhmet, and this is the reason why I didn't really need the Chloe. So she's sort of filling my fourth slot. That was like what I was trying to find was a fourth unit to make my AD, a lot better. I was experimenting with Chloe and Orion and also some other units, but Sekhmet was just the thing I really needed to just to fix up my team. It was either that or some sort of tanky bruiser would have been nice. But she's there to counter Tiana's, right? So that's why she's on Swift Will. I mean, she doesn't. I guess it's nice to be on Will, but I guess she didn't really need to be Will against most Tiana teams. But she was still pretty fast on the Will set, so I may as well give it to her. And I was trying to use her on Guild Wars defense, but at the moment I don't think I really have a team to put her in. So I'm just leaving her like that for the time being. But she's good to counter Immensity as well. That's why I put her on Swift to make her as fast as possible to counter most Immensities. And it will just depend on how fast the opponent's Immensity is. I mean, generally she should deter Immensity anyway, because if you are unsure of the speed of the Sekhmet, you shouldn't really try to Immensity copper that team. Alright, Bernard, he gained 2 speed, right, since last time, and that's because of the slot 1 rune. It used to be a 17 speed one, so he gained a little bit of speed, but still obviously nowhere near like really OP sort of speed yet. The goal is to get to 30 speed, sorry, 300 speed, and yeah, I still need to find some better ones, or better runes on slot 1, 3 and 4 to make that work. Okay, Lucian, I didn't really touch Lucians, so I'll just go through them real quick. You can pause if needed. Obviously I use him on, I used the first Lucian on my Giant Speed 10 team, and of course I use him on Arena Offense. Okay, Brian, I think I might have switched some runes around, but basically I try to make him as tanky as possible while being fairly fast, and I use him a lot on Guild Wars Offense, right, in combination with Chasun and Filmars. I'm sure you see it all the time on my Guild Wars videos, and it's because he's a very he just makes it so much safer, and he provides a lot of utility with the spare stance, attack power debuff, and heal block is quite nice too, and obviously the res. Okay, Ameda, I switched some runes around, but he's still on Will, double Will Shield, and 1 defense rune and 2 HP runes, and he's just there to tank Ameda. Sorry, to tank Perna. Ameda is there to tank Perna, my bad. Alright, he does a pretty good job with that. Orochi, I think I might have switched some runes around. I think he was on Violent before, but I switched him back to just like broken sets. I do still use him in Giant Speed 10 because it makes my team a lot more safe, so that's why I use him there. Okay, he actually got a buff, but I didn't really build him towards that buff. If you build him to with a crit damage build with good attack substats, he does do pretty good damage with his second skill. It's not as good as like a Lagmaron or a Tor, but you can do like 40,000 damage or something with it. So if you need a win single target burst nuker, then you could build Orochi for that too. Alright, so Chasun got changed because I wanted to put her on Will. Alright, so that's why my full mass is a bit slower now. And yeah, because Chasun before on Endure, she had like an extra like 10 or 15 speed. But obviously I had to, my Will runes aren't as good as my like strongest Endure runes, so That's why she had to give her speed a bit. But I quite like her on will, because this way, if I bring like Fiorma Tessarian soon, everyone's protected against Orions because of my Tessarian shield runes, and also from things like Galleon's time to loot. Copper hasn't changed at all. I was trying to find a build that has the similar or higher defense and higher crit damage, but I couldn't find one. But looking at other coppers in my guild, I've realized I think I might try going for a build with higher defense and less crit damage. I'm not sure. I have to like play around with Rune Optimizer and see like what I can do, with his runes. I'll try things like guard will or something like that and see. But with these stats and like level 8 crit damage flag, and I can't remember my defense flag. I think it's about level 6 or something. But on those stats, he does a maximum of 53,000. I think the low end is about 51,000 or maybe 50,000. Alright, so he can kill most stuff. I think the only thing I'm really scared of hitting with copper, apart from defense-based units or units that could be built on defense, I'm scared of things like Ritesh, Huadam, and Iona. Those are like the main ones I probably wouldn't copper. Okay, my Monkey King, I've changed him to make him a bit tankier. Right, so at the moment I use him on Guild Wars defense to protect my Fiormas and my Iona. So I made him tankier just to make him like really annoying. He still does okay damage, so like I can use him in like a bruiser sort of comp. And I put him on will. He used to be on destroy. I put him on will because of PvP purposes. I think for like if you're gonna use him as like a main PvP unit, it's good to put him on will. But destroy still works as well. It really just depends who you're pairing him with. Alright, Immensity, I've shown his runes recently on the like a monster guide, so just check that out. Alright, I'm just gonna save a bit of time and skip him. Alright, so this is my second Lucian. He hasn't changed at all since last time, so I'll just show these very quickly. And of course, he's just he's like the second Lucian for double Lucian team. And he's got like the second best runes out of my Lucians. And then there's the third Lucian, which is a bit slow. I need to make him a bit faster, but like to be more in line with the other two. But I only use him in the triple Lucian team. And these are his stats. So I mean, if I can give him a bit of grinds, it probably will help him a bit more. But he's not like a priority. Tashar hasn't changed since last time, but I'll show you the runes real quick. He's like my main arena offense has Tashar in it, or at least the two main ones, which is Samath, Tashar, Galleon, Bernard. And the other team is I swapped Samath with Tor. For teams where I need to snipe 2 units with single target. Okay, Eladriel, this is one of my new units as well. I got quite a lot of new units. So like, this is like my second latest Nat 5. And yeah, I built him for Guild Wars defense. So he's on Violent Will, and I just try to make him as tanky as possible while giving him a decent amount of speed. I don't feel Eladriel needs to be super fast. I feel it's a bit of a waste to do that. But you don't want him to be like slow as a snail, right? So you do want to make him really tanky with a combination of HP and defense, and then enough speed substats that he moves at a decent pace. Something like in the 150, 160 range, I feel is good enough. If you can get more, then by all means go for it. Okay. And Bella, I've readjusted Bella to make him in line with my Field Mars in case I ever pair them up, because I think they're good to pair up together. But at the moment, I mostly just use Bella in Dragon's B10. But he's a very strong Guild Wars unit. I used to use him a lot. It's just that sometimes it's a bit unreliable. The team was Bella, Delphoy, Field Mars, and that was to counter enemy Field Mars teams. But a lot of the current Field Mars teams, it's harder to bring this team against it. I tend to need to go for a more tankier sort of strategy. Okay, this is my Iona. I use her on both on Guild Wars offense and defense, and I made her as tanky as I could while giving her a decent amount of speed. Right, so the main focus is HP, of course, because her base HP is insane. You want to get her out of range of things like copper and stuff like that. So give her as much HP as you can, and a bit of defense helps against like the the non-defense ignoring units like Tisha, Tor, stuff like that. And hopefully you don't get one shot by it. And she's on Violent Will. Okay, Esha. I changed Esha a little bit. I think he's got a little bit less HP than he used to have, because I had to swap some runes around to other units. I don't use him a lot in Guild Wars. I basically use him in combination with Jabel. But it's very hard to bring him against a lot of the G3 teams. I think he'll be better in just like lower ranked fights. So if you have an Esha, like I would recommend building him, but just try to make sure he has max crit rate. Okay. I never touch Akroma's runes because I like that she's built semi-tanky and max crit rate. She's not exactly the fastest unit, but I'm pretty happy with the way she is at the moment, so I just left her alone. And I use her against Sierra tanks mostly, or to tank Jultans. Alright, this is my Silver. So Silver I use in raid R5 in my safe team, right? I think he's a very good frontliner that does good damage and also a lot of debuffs. Every ability has a debuff, so he's actually very good in R5. I would say probably the best one, best living armor for R5. And try to give him as many revenge runes as possible, and then get a max crit rate while taking into account crit lead, and then obviously defense and crit damage for the damage. Okay, give him HP substats to give him like a bit of tankiness, because you can give him heaps of defense, right, which is nice, but he needs to have a decent HP pool as well to survive. But anything from like 16,000 upwards is probably good enough, as long as the defense is quite high, like 2k or so. Okay, Aria. Aria I use in TOA hard occasionally, not as much anymore, because I think Varad is just more reliable than she is. But I do use her occasionally for her debuffs. But definitely, most people will use her because, or at least the people that farmed her in the previous HOH. She's she's one of the best units for TOA hard. Okay, now this is my DS. You will notice that this is like a damage dealing DS, and the reason I built him this way is just so that he adds a bit of extra damage to the team. So I'm basically running like triple DPS in my team, or 2.5. Like, I wouldn't count DS as like a pure damage dealer, but he does do like a bit of damage. If you look, if you were to look at my contribution bars for each of the units' damage, Kung Fu Go is always going to be the top one. Hua will be very close behind, and then DS will be like halfway. So he does like, he's like worth half a damage dealer, and he can be in the front line because he's got good defense and HP substats, and he's on like a crit damage, attack and attack and defense. I thought he was on HP, but yeah, he's built that way, and he's been pretty good, right? I think with DS, if you're running 4 units in the front line with DS, you can build him something like this to make him do more stuff for your raid team. Because if you're running 4 units in the front, you don't need a DS that's super tanky, right? So you can reduce his tankiness and either focus on giving him a lot of speed so that he does debuffs a lot more often, or you give him damage. So that way he can contribute to the raid a lot more. Right, so this is my Jabel. I speed synced him to Escher, and yeah, he's just there to defense break for him. I used to use Jultan, but I think Jubel is better because the defense break is on a 2-turn buff, or debuff, right? It's a 2-turn debuff, as opposed to Jultan's, which is only 1 turn. And I always use Escher's HP lead anyway, so there wasn't really any point of me using the Jultan. So I built Jabel, and the other reason is because I think he looks pretty sick with the transmog. So yeah, that's partially the reason I built him. Alright, so this is my Veromos, and I'll tune him to be in line with the Fuel Mars as well. I don't really use them together, but it's just in case I use the team, because the combinations that you might use Fuel Mars is like Fuel Mars with either Veromos or Tsarin, and then Chasun or Praha as the healer. So I made sure that they're tuned similarly, and he's on Violent Will. I have him on AD at the moment actually, and I think Will on him is good for AD. Oh sorry, not AD, Guild Wars defense. If you're going to use him on Guild Wars defense, I think personally Will is better, but if you're going to use him on Arena defense, then Nemesis is better. His runes aren't exactly the best. I would like to give him better runes. I've been sort of experimenting with him on defense, and I quite like him. So I might actually give him some better quality ones next time. So this is my first Jultan. This one was the one that was originally on Violent, but I changed him to be basically built the same way as all the other Jultans. And he's just on triple HP. I believe he's on max resist with Praha's lead. Alright, and I use them as like a fun AD. When I want to, people who know me, I like to troll a lot with my arena defense during the week before rush. So yeah, this is like one of the main troll sort of defenses that I use is triple Jultan of Praha. And yeah, I use like other various stuff as well. But this one is good for keeping me in like high Conqueror or low Guardian, because yeah, a lot of people still lose to it, and I think a lot of people just ignore the defense. Alright, this is about Beta. So Beta I had to readjust as well for Fuel Mars. So she's a bit slower but tankier, and she's on Violent Will of course, and she moves just after Fuel Mars, right? She's like 2 speeds slower because of her base speed is 10 higher than Fuel Mars. So I had to make her 2 below him, and yeah, she basically is there to protect my Fuel Mars after he has moved. So that's why she's built with that sort of speed. That way my Fuel Mars doesn't waste the immunity buff due to violent procs or something like that. Because he's on will runes, he's already got a will rune, so I don't need Beta to buff that early. And lastly, this is my third Jultan. again, is just like built the same way as all the others. As much HP as possible, high resist, and defense where possible. And on a will set, actually, that's very important. All the Jutons are on will, just to be even more troll. Alright, so that's all the units. That took pretty long, but I guess that's it usually does. So thanks guys for tuning in. I hope this is helpful, for seeing how to rune various units. This is in no way like there's no clear way to rune everything, right? You're just really looking at the stats mostly, and you just give the rune sets that achieve that sort of rune requirement that you need. Alright, so that's it from me. Thanks guys again for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.